Okay, it's Sunday and the first game of the new year. Well, the first one we recorded at least. We've had a few sneaky games in between then. We just didn't have much time that day, so we didn't manage to film it in the end. We're starting off the new year with a game of 40k. Not because we've switched to 40k or anything. It's just we're attempting to learn the new rules and thought we'd give it a go. One of our mates has got back into it, so we're just brushing up again so we can have a fair chance against him. Right, so it's going to be a 2,000 point game, and Si's playing the new Dark Angels, which came out yesterday, and I'm playing my Grey Knights, which have no proxies now, which is nice. So I'm running through my army. We're playing the standard battle line mission, or whatever it's called in 40k, I can't remember. So it's 2,000 points. My Warlord is a Brother Captain. And then we've got 10 Grey Knight Terminators, they're just normal ones. Then we've got a Dread Knight with a heavy incinerator, Gatling silencer, and the Great Sword. Then we've got 10 Purifiers with halberds, foresight cannons, Demon Hammer, with an Inquisitor who's level 1 with prescience and Psi Cannon and Terminator armour. Then we've got another Dread Knight with the Great Sword, Gatling silencer, Incinerator. And then we've got another 10-man squad of Terminators with 2 Demon Hammers, 2 Psi Cannons, which is the same loadout as the other one. I'm starting to paint some now, so it's getting there. Hopefully it won't take too long to paint this army. That's the Grey Knights. So I'll hand you over to Si, see what he's got now. We actually rolled for the deployment and that, and Si chose for me to deploy first, which I think that means I go first. Unless he seizes the initiative, but I'll let him run through his army and then we'll see who goes first.
Okay, yeah, well, with new Codex, I've had a good read since yesterday afternoon when I bought it. So much to take on board, really. There's so many different things, plus coupled with the fact I don't particularly understand the 6th edition rules as well as I should. Basically what I've done is I've taken a bit of everything. I've taken a bit of what seems really powerful. I've taken some interesting stuff. Tried to think of some synergies to try and get the most out of the book. This is by no means a really great army. What I tend to do is take a broad spectrum of units. Well, I must admit for this game it's not that broad. And I just see what happens. I just see what they do, and then if there's a particular loadout that seems to work, then that tends to get chalked up and added to a main list until eventually I have something that seems pretty decent. So with this in mind, basically I have a 6-man Deathwing attack squad. You have to excuse the 3 horses, as I only have the contents of the Dark Vengeance box set currently in terms of bikes. So that's basically 6 guys, 2 plasma guns, a sergeant. The Hellpit Abomination is bravely standing in for a Landspeeder Night Shroud. I have the model, but it's still in the box, and that will probably get assembled later on after the game. I have 2 Landspeeders, also associated with the Raven Wing attack squad. I bought these ages ago, experimented with them, didn't think they were too useful. I was actually going to flog them to raise money for Dark Angels, but I think I'm going to keep them. So they're due for a paint job at some point then. Over in the Rhino is going to be a level 1 Librarian and a standard command squad. Then over here I have a 10-man tack squad with Plas Heavy Plasma, and in reserves I have Belial and a command squad outfitted with an Apothecary and a Chapter Champion. Then I have a unit of the Deathwing Knights, just armed as standard, with a Perfidious Relic, or Penis, or whatever it is, a relic thing. And then I have a standard Deathwing Terminator squad over there with a plasma cannon. So those are coming in reserves. I have secretly chosen and written down when they are due to arrive, as per the rules. And yeah, we are going to get started with the game. So I think I probably will try and steal the initiative. So we'll get you. We'll see you at the end of the first turn.
Okay, so I failed to steal the initiative, so it's Grey Knight's turn 1, and all I've really done is just shuffle around a bit. These guys have jumped the barrier and started running towards that attack squad in an effort to take them out. And that's pretty much it. There was no shooting, just because everything was out of range. So it's the end of Grey Knight's turn 1.
Okay, it's the end of Dark Angel's turn 1. It's a fairly easy go for these guys. They just stood where they were, shot, and managed to jib one Grey Knight with a plasma gun shot. The plasma cannon unfortunately scattered a massive 11 inches over here, so no matter how good my ballistic skill was, it wasn't good enough to hit anything. And basically, Ollie and I had to spend about 20 minutes reading through the rule book, which tends to read a bit like a fighting fantasy book in terms of how we look for rules. And it did help that Ollie and I are both well versed in philosophical texts, because it was quite complicated to extract the rules out of that book. But in the end, yeah, we got there and worked out exactly how everyone's supposed to move. And yeah, basically my Rhino has moved a total of 18, moving flat out in the movement phase. The bikes moved up 12 and then turbo boosted a further 12. And the land speeder squadron and my Night Shroud land speeder have also moved flat out as well, a bit further up obviously because they're fast skimmers. And yeah, that is a state of play. So it's now down to Grey Knight's turn 2.
Okay, it's the end of Grey Knight's turn 2. The Dread Knight moved up a bit, and these guys pretty much stay where they were because they're already in range of the attack squad over there. And that was pretty much it for movement. I cast Prescience on this squad, and then I went straight to the shooting phase. Apparently we don't have a magic phase in this. So. Right, so these guys fired at the attack squad, managed to kill 3 of them, which was nice. Forced a break test, but so I passed it. This squad fired all its Psy cannons at his Rhino over there, took it out. The Dread Knight fired his Incinerator at the bikes, managed to kill 1 of them. And then also cast his Gatling Silencer, but they got 5 hits, I think, and he felt a wound with pretty much all of them. And then this squad, it was going to open up over here, but a new target presented itself in the form of the size rather nasty command squad, armed to the teeth with plasma guns and storm shields. Or 2 storm shields and like 5 plasma guns, was it?
Yes,
5 plasma guns, and a librarian was Prescience. So I didn't like that. So I swung all my storm bolters and Psy cannons around with the Prescience on them and just blasted them off the planet. We got through about half the wounds before the squad was wiped out. So yeah, that was lovely, very satisfying. But yeah, high risk, high reward though, because that would have cleaned that Dread Knight up nasty. It would have been horrible. So I'm really glad I took those out. But that still presents me with a bit of a problem over here. And apparently there's some Deathwing Terminators coming in this turn, so that's something to worry about. So that's the end of Grey Knight's turn 2.
Okay, end of Dark Angel's turn 2. Slight bit of a problem in I attempted to drop my Deathwing squad nicely out into the open here. You'd think, oh, no problem. Unfortunately, I rolled just enough to scatter perfectly onto the Dread Knight, and then rolled them on the mishap, and rolled a 1, so they were dead. A little unfortunate, but I had to roll with it. Belial had come down here with his surgical strike, or precision, or whatever it was, precision strike. And then also, because he has a teleport homer, brought these guys down as well. They're my Deathwing Knights. So there's a command squad with Belial and the Deathwing Knights. Then the bikes, the Land Speeder and the Night Shroud Hell Pit, all moved up and around. And then in the shooting phase, basically I directed all of the Ravenwing stuff at the Dread Knight to wipe it out, and I took it down. And then in the rest of the shooting phase, my Terminators, who have clearly been doing nothing but living off of a diet of McDonald's and crisps and Coca-Cola, and doing nothing but sat playing on the Xbox, as they both managed run moves of 1. And then over here, the tactical squad was trading fire with the other Grey Knight Terminators. Managed to kill another 2 guys, which was pretty nice. And forced a panic test, but unfortunately only passed it. And that was about it. So we're now on to Grey Knight's turn 3.
Okay, it's the end of Grey Knight's turn 3. Movement wise, these guys just pulled away, trying to get away from these horrible Terminators. These guys just moved around to get one of the side cannons in range. Unfortunately the others couldn't move far enough to get in range, so they didn't bother. And these guys just shuffled around so he had a bit less cover. I cast Prescience on these guys, and also cast double Hammer Hands, so one from the captain, one from the squad, so there's strength 6 at the moment. This guy just moved up as well. And then in the shooting phase, these guys dacked up the tack squad, killed maybe 2 or 3 of them, and they consequently failed their break test and run exactly off the board by about a few millimetres.
About a quarter of an inch.
Yeah, which is harsh. Then in the shooting phase, still in the shooting phase, the Dread Knight managed to clip 2 of the Deathwing Knights with his Torrent Incinerator, and just did a couple of wounds, but so I saved them. Then my Psy Cannon fired at them, but he passed his armour saves, even though one was a rend. And then, I might have actually killed one with that rend, I can't remember. But then the Purifiers opened up on them as well, killed 3 of them, just with mass Psy Cannon fire on that. And the Storm Bolters as well. So he lost 3 of those, but luckily they're what's called inner circle, so they're fearless, so they weren't worried about that. And then the Grey Knight Terminators with the captain, obviously had Prescience on them, opened up on the bikes, and managed to kill 4 of them, including the 2 plasma guns, and so I had about 6 wounds left, and said, I might as well just take it off. I said, no, you might as well take them. And of course he did, and passed it. Passed like
6 wounds,
yeah,
and a cover save on a rend.
Yeah, so he made 7 3-ups, and but then failed his break test. Run off them, started running anyway. But yeah, that was pretty nice. So yeah, so that's the end of Grey Knight's turn 3.
Okay, it's end of Dark Angel's turn 3. Basically, the Ravenwing Land Speeders moved up and around. He decided to Scarper. Basically, the Terminators all moved up, then attempted to charge. Unfortunately, my big unit rolled miserably. He needed a 7. The unit of 2 naturally rolled amazingly. And and then basically in the shooting, I managed to do only 1 wound on the captain. Then in close combat, I managed to kill 2 guys before I went down. So yeah, it was a bit unfortunate. Whereas if that squad had got into combat, then it would have been happy days. Although I wouldn't particularly want to have to then send them against the Purifiers, because the Purifiers are a bit scary when we get into combat with them. So yeah, a little bit annoying, but other than that, it is the way it is. So it's by this point it's pretty much over. But we're going to play a bit longer, just to see how it pans out. And yeah, so it's now Grey Knight's turn 4.
Okay, it's the end of Grey Knight's turn 4. What I did is I moved these guys back, moved the Dread Knight up, moved these guys back, forward, so they were just kind of in range of the Ravenwing land speeders. Cast precedence on the Purifiers, because we've got 5 Psy Cannons in there, thought that might be useful. And then I did some shooting. So this guy fired his Flamer and his Psy Cannon missed. Flamer did nothing, made all his saves. This guy shot the Ravenwing, managed to get a stun result on one of them, and only 2 of them can shoot, but one of them was a Psy Cannon. Other than that, he was unscathed. These guys fired into the 2 land speeders and managed to obliterate them just by sheer number of Psy Cannon attacks, which is nice. Which left me open to fire all the Purifiers at Belial's squad, and ouch. I fired 20 Psy Cannon shots and 10 Stormbolt shots into them. Belial made all but 2 of the, 20 odd saves, lookout surging them onto other people. So he took no wounds at all, but did consequently kill most of his squad. Now, that's not quite all of the squad though, because the Apothecary managed to get killed by some random shrapnel off of an exploding land speeder. He failed his armour save, his lookout cert, and his field no pain, and got killed by a random piece of tin.
The beauty of it also was it was 10 Stormbolt shots killed 2 guys.
Yeah. 20 Psy Cannon shots killed like 1, the command squad, and yet the random Stormbolt shots actually killed 2. So. But yeah, it was a pretty brutal pasting. So Sai's going to go into his turn 4, see if Belial can die gloriously, or just die. But yeah, so it's not looking good. But we're going to go through the motions just because it's only going to take a few minutes. So Dark Angel's turn 4 coming up.
Okay, it's the end of Dark Angel's turn 4. A nice quick one. Basically, the Night Shroud moved up because the command squad champion was out of coherency with Belial. They counted as 2 separate units. So both made their charges. Amazingly, I managed to roll more than a 4 this time for twice, which was pretty impressive. Charged in. Unfortunately, the champion, he managed to do 2 wounds to the Dread Knight, who had the audacity to make his armour saves. And then to add insult to injury, he took the Dread Knight did 3 wounds back, and I thought, I'll take it on Belial. I'll take a wound, and that'll be that. But no, spat in the face. After it was kicked when I was down, and I rolled a 1 and 2 2s. So that was the end of poor old Belial. So yeah, it was a bit brutal at the end, but it was a fun game. Yeah, it was
You get a kill point for being in my deployment zone.
Yes, I got a kill point for Linebreaker and a kill point for the Dread Knight over there. But yeah, I just couldn't unfortunately get hold of his Grey Knights. It's pretty difficult because losing the Grey Knight squad in turn 2 really hampered me, because they were basically going down there where his squad ended up. Point being is I was going to try and force him into a bottleneck and basically try and sort of get in there and sort of work my way through the force. Bit disappointing that the tactical squad over there went. They were doing pretty well. I kind of figured they'd get maybe another round of shooting before they were wiped out. But unfortunately, a bit of bad luck with the dice rolls, and off they pootled. But yeah, it was just a bit of a shitter. If I'd managed to sort of catch him around there, I could have tried a bit of a pincer movement and maybe managed to get hold of that squad. Probably mauled that one. But yeah, unfortunately, that was just the way it is. It's very interesting to see how the Ravenwing work in conjunction with the Deathwing, though. As Ollie was suggesting, sort of cheap little squads of Ravenwing, because 3 Barry basic bikes is very few points, less than 100, and yeah, you know, you can with a teleport homer, the ability to scout and stuff like that, I can have the potential of getting guys sort of anywhere within the battlefield with pinpoint accuracy, and certainly against Grey Knights, I think bigger Terminator squads are what are required. I also quite like the idea with thinking of bigger squads of being able to take sort of a versatile tactical assault squad, half with sort of heavy weapons and storm bolters, and then the other half with Thunderhammer and Storm Shields to really take it to the enemy. But yeah, it was well played by Ollie there. It was a classic castle defence. Very wise against a mostly deep striking army. I had to come to him, and yeah, it was pretty difficult to sort of pin the Grey Knights down once they'd got into the field. But yeah, I attribute some of that to a little bit of bad luck on my fault, but still, it was a good game. The Dark Angels have certainly got quite a lot of stuff. There's a lot of potential in there. So getting the optimum synergy, and I think one of my big problems was I bunched too much up, so I couldn't actually take advantage of the teleport homers because I had a bit of a limited place to deploy. But other than that, yeah, it seemed to go quite well. I really like the army. Looks to be good fun to play. Loads of different stuff. You know, you end up with sort of 4 tactical squads camping objectives with banners and stuff, and being able to make them salvo 2 or 4 weapons and stuff. Cool. The amount of damage you can put out even might make a purifier squad jealous. But yeah, that was a pretty good game. It was nice to play. Actually, we might be thinking of trying to twist Ollie's arm for next week for a game as well of 40k, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I'll hand you over to Ollie, and he can discuss how he thought the game went.
Okay, yeah, so it's the end of the game. Grey Knights managed to take the victory, and it went pretty well. Only lost to Dread Knight, which was good. It's because he ate a lot of plasma, which is bad. But yeah, I've identified one of the strengths of the Grey Knights is just staying away from plasma and shooting people a lot. So that's fine with me. So really, the Purifiers for me probably the men of the match, just because they pumped out so many Psycannon rounds. Obviously, the Prescience was nice, and really this squad probably did just as much damage actually. They took out the Land Speeders, half of the Deathwing Knights, and even fought some close combat and prevailed. So yeah, so I mean it's sort of a mixture between those. Probably those actually they did the most, but mainly thanks to Prescience, which I really like on the Inquisitor, who also brings his own Psycannon to the party. So I'm kind of preferring him over a Librarian at the moment. Hence why I converted the model. I'll show you that. It's just a simple conversion just so I could use it. That's it. So he's probably going to be showing again. I quite like the list actually, so I'll probably use this list again. I like the Aegis defence line. Bringing your own cover for 50 points is definitely a bargain. Yeah, that's probably going to be included. But yeah, so I'm certainly going to try this list again. Terminators did a decent job shooting out those attack squad, as did these guys. In fact, all the shooting was great. The Dread Knights, their shooting's a bit mediocre to be honest, but in close combat they're nice. Going at AP2 at initiative, the rules to hit and wound is lovely, and plus they look good, so I'm going to be taking those again. Captain didn't really do a lot, but he does bring blind grenades to the party. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford Psychotrope grenades, otherwise I'd brought those as well. So I'm still not sure about him. But he's the Warlord. I didn't really want a Toughness 3 Inquisitor being my Warlord. So it's quite easy to instant kill him. Plus, it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't sit right having an Inquisitor lead Grey Knights. I can see him as like a sort of advisory capacity rather than actually leading them. But yeah, as far as the tactics of castling up went, it seemed to go pretty well. Never tried that before with Grey Knights, and definitely paid off. Didn't really get much use out of the Aegis defence line because I was running out from it, but it felt pretty safe there, and plus he couldn't have deep struck behind me initially, because I was a bit worried he was going to do that on the first turn. But as long as you support each other with these guys, they seem to do pretty well. So that's what I wanted to achieve with this. But yeah, I mean, killing. It's a bit hard to judge how Dark Angels fare, because that was obviously a very experimental game for Si. First time he's ever used the book. So can't really judge that. But it was a fun game. I had a lot of fun. I'm certainly got another tactic to add to my list, perhaps potentially. And yeah, it was a good win. So we're probably going to do it again next week, just because Si wants to learn his new book. And yeah, and I quite enjoyed that. So let's have a little bit of a break from Warhammer. But as I've stressed before, we're not about to ditch Warhammer for 40k. We've been playing 40k probably just as long. Well, Si has at least. So yeah, we're sort of just having a bit of a 40k resurgence, just for the sake of our friend who's just got back into it. Plays Chaos Space Marines with the new book, so there's a lot of new books kicking around. It's quite scary for the older books, although Grey Knight seems to be standing up to that pretty well. So yeah, so hopefully I'll get a few more of these painted. I just really want to crack them out so I can get on with painting some Warhammer stuff. So that's the plan, to just get this army painted so I can play, and then carry on with the Warhammer armies. So yeah, so we will see you next week. Hope you enjoyed it.